and rainy Valentine's Day here in Chapel Hill. That is not going to dampen the excitement as we get ready to open the 2021 women's lacrosse season. We have a great matchup on hand for you. Even though it wasn't the one we expected, those two coaches right there able to get together in short order and get it on the schedule. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Kyle Straub, joined by my broadcast partner, former two-time goalie of the year, Kaylee Waters. And Kaylee, like I said, how else can you start off a season 1 versus 6?
Absolutely. Carolina thought they were going into playing the number 10 team, and how about number 6? Pretty exciting for them, and same for Stony Brook. You know, they get an opportunity to play the number 1 team in the country.
And that's the thing. Both of these teams just want to get an opportunity to play. Nearly 1 year since the 2020 season was canceled because of COVID, and North Carolina was rolling in the beginning part of that season. 3 top 10 wins for them as they were in search for another national championship. Some unfinished business for them as they come in ranked number 1 in the country. The dynamic duo, Katie Hogue and Jamie Ortega, are the leaders.
Absolutely. They bring a lot of momentum to this offense. They're so smart with the ball, both of them. Never hold on to it for too long. They know the right timing, so poised, and they make everyone around them better. How do you stop them? We'll see.
Stony Brook hoping not just to stop them, but to outscore them, and leading the way, the do-it-all player for them, Allie Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy comes in as the preseason ranked number 1 player in the country. You can see by her statistics, and I'm sure they're going to keep rolling this season.
Both of these teams led by really all-time great head coaches. For Stony Brook, it is Joe Spallina in his 10th season, the all-time winningest coach at Stony Brook. It only took him 3 years to get that accolade, but he told us he is in search of that next level. He wants to bring a national championship to the Seawolves. That is something that his counterpart, Jenny Levy, has done here at North Carolina a couple of times, most recently winning the national championship in 2016. Also, these two know each other a little bit as they're both on Team USA's coaching staff.
Yeah, Coach Jenny Levy and Joe Spallina, they both have such high regards for each other, and they may have different styles of play, but that mindset is the same.
Take a look at that,
and wanting to win.
Yeah, take a look at that Team USA photo. Joe Spallina on the far left, Jenny Levy in the middle, Alex Frank, Colleen Shearer, Amy Altig, the other 3. And regardless of how this matchup was going to happen, North Carolina, JMU, North Carolina, Stony Brook, there were going to be connections with that coaching staff. And you love that they're able to take those different styles, put them together, and learn from each other, which is something that Joe told us that he absolutely has done.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this matches up today. These two teams never playing each other.
Up next, it is number 1 versus number 6. What a way to open the season. The Tar Heels and the Seawolves here on ACC Network Extra. Happy Valentine's, everybody. Even though it is not the ideal weather, we don't care. 1 versus 6 ready to go to open up this season. 2 programs that have always been in the top 10, at least in most recent memory, but they've never played each other before. And the way that this all came about is just kind of wild, that you have 2 programs where the coaches know each other, but it took a pandemic and both of them having games canceled to get each other on the schedule, though.
Yes, especially in this season when these 2 conferences, American East and ACC, you're playing teams twice, so there's very little opportunity to play out of conference teams. So chances of this happening is very slim.
They were able to get it ready to go, and we are so grateful that they did. One of the keys that both of these coaches really talked about was the draw control. They have so many players at so many different positions, but it seemed like neither coach was really set it. This is the person we're going to go and look to win the draw. So it's something we're going to have to really keep an eye on today.
Yeah, some teams definitely specialize in one draw person. They call it a FOGO, face-off, go-off. That's more like the men's version of it. But we'll see. You definitely, as teams want to have more than just one player when you need to change the energy of how the ball's going. And those coaches have about 2 or 3 handful that we'll see try out today.
You mentioned the men's game. They played on this field last night. Between that and the rain that we have gotten here recently, we'll keep an eye on the condition of the field. Brand new stadium here, Dorrance Field. Last year is the first time that it was open for the teams to play on it, but in great position, great looking field. You just never know with that much rain. Looks like they're about ready. It'll be for North Carolina, Ali Mastriani, who will take the draw. Looks like Charlotte Verholz taking it for Stony Brook to start the game off. We're gonna get a quick whistle as both players go down to the turf. North Carolina, a team that really just was firing on all cylinders last season. Averaged 19.5 goals scored per game through those 7 that they were able to play, while only giving up a little bit over 8 a game. Talked about Ortega and Hogue. They're not the only 2 weapons, though, for Jenny Levy's squad. One of the reasons it's so tough to defend this North Carolina team.
Yeah, looks like Stony Brook is setting up in a backer, which is somewhat of a zone in which players aren't playing one-on-one, man-to-man defense. You kind of have this other player who's always there ready to help.
That player ready to help on the defensive side for the Seawolves, number 23, Haley Dillon.
And that is a rare occurrence, trying to feed from X. Good for the goalie to be ready and anticipating that. That's a big pull of possession.
Hall Saul, the redshirt junior keeper for the Seawolves, as they get into the attack. Mentioned Allie Kennedy, the do-it-all player for Stony Brook, but we also have to mention Taylor Olmiller. They call her T.O., really an elite scorer for this team.
Yeah, she certainly takes after her sister, Kylie O'Miller, who graduated in 2018, and they got a chance to play together, but definitely see some good connection between Taryn and Allie.
You mentioned the zone that Stony Brook was playing. We see a different defense here from North Carolina, and that goes to what you said in the open, 2 very different styles for these head coaches.
Yeah, Carolina right now on defense is set up in a man.
First shot, and it's going to be a goal for Stony Brook as they get on the board first. It's Allie Kennedy.
And Kyle, we saw where that started. Always top to bottom from that goalkeeper. Anticipating that pass. Like I said, not often do you see a feed from X, and that is why, because goalie's there. And then Stony Brook offense able to make the most of that. Carolina had great defense covering that feed, but following up on that, there was an opportunity where the defense didn't get back to covering their girl man on man. Kennedy
adds to the huge numbers that she has totaled up throughout her career. That is 194 goals for her in her time at Stony Brook. Joe Spalina said she is simply the best to ever wear this school's uniform.
Yeah, she was under-recruited coming into Stony Brook, so I'm sure she plays with a chip on her shoulder, and she has proved herself. Sure, that school's got to feel good. 2021 season.
Especially that it has been nearly a full calendar year since anybody has been able to get out there and compete against another team. Something that both coaches really emphasize in our conversations with them is we've gotten practices, we've gotten to do an inner squad, but having a different jersey out there, it's a different level, and they're both excited to do it.
Yeah, they were both saying, hey, we look good in our inner squad scrimmage, but you never know until you play someone new.
Collision just across midfield. Possession will stay with Stony Brook. Ellie Massera, the freshman from Eastport, New York, finally gets it into the attacking third as the Seawolves will set up and try and add to their 1-0 total.
Carolina gave them a hard time getting over that restraining line. You notice now half the shot clock has gone down. We'll see how much longer they can hold them, or if Stony Brook will attack.
Last year, Stony Brook averaged 15.5 goals a game while giving up 11. Played a couple less than Carolina. They went and played 5 games, 4-1 record in 2020 before the season was put to a halt. Another nice pass right in front. Looked like a defender got in the way of that one. May have been Carolyn Wakefield. Kennedy almost with her second goal already.
That sounded painful, and that absolutely should be a card. That ball hit her head. The refs may have thought it hit the goggles. It sounded like it hit plastic.
Free position here for Stony Brook.
I'm surprised to see her on the free position, thinking it was a card.
Looks like maybe they're going to discuss that here as the referees come together.
Yeah, if I was Coach Levy, I'd want to, hoping it was one of those football games where you can ask for a replay.
Yeah, throw the challenge flag out there. Well, I think she definitely got their attention from the sideline. The referees had a discussion, but looks like they're going to stick with what the call was, so it will be the free position here for Stony Brook. Shot, goal, it's a 2-0 lead. Allie Kennedy does it again.
Well, that certainly started with some fearless defense by Wakefield, really putting her body into it. Stony Brook got a free position on that, and no surprise that Kennedy was able to put that away. She is so quick off the line. If you get her on the 8-meter, that she's a big threat. She knows how to protect the ball and finish.
Preseason National Player of the Year, and so far, a couple of minutes into this one, showing you exactly why with both of the goals for Stony Brook.
Yeah.
It's an interesting position here for North Carolina, a team who just general isn't really used to playing from being down. They're not playing from behind most of the time. We talk about that potent offense that they have. What do you do here from North Carolina's standpoint?
My guess is Jenny Levy's not too worried. There's plenty of time. Her offense hasn't had time yet to get into their groove, and she knows that they will. She knows that goals will be scored. It's just a matter of how long will it take for Carolina to get into their element of the game.
Restart here on the draw control. Won cleanly by Carolina. They'll get their second opportunity in the offensive side. Brooke Newman, the junior out of Rockford, Michigan, brings it down. There is Katie Hogue. Carolina showing some good patience here as they try and spread out that zone defense. Another pass from the X. This time it'll work for Carolina as Hogue deposits it in the back of the cage.
Great find by Carolina to see that hole in the Stony Brook defense. As I mentioned, they're playing that backer, so there was a girl in the middle who's kind of hanging out, and Hogue was able to find that space, and quick release by Scotty Rose put it away. And
Halsall going after that pass left the cage open. Able to intercept it last time, not the case this time. And for Hogue, that's the century mark for her. 100 goals in her career here at North Carolina. All-time leader for Carolina in assists and points, adds to that point total. This will go against Carolina. Seawolves take possession. Another one of the themes from our coaches' calls was they expected some chaos in the beginning of this game. You have nerves. First game of the year is always going to be a little bit sloppy in the beginning, but as the teams settle in is when they really expect to see more of what their teams are all about. And at this point, we're a little bit over 5 minutes into it. As a player, you think they're settled into this game now?
Maybe some. I mean, there are a lot of experienced players on the field, granted that they get another year, so I'm sure some are settled, but there's a lot of excitement on here.
Carolina causes the turnover, out and running ahead of everybody. Into the attacking third they go. Kerrigan Miller down low, bounce, Carolina ties it up.
Our field goal number 22, Taylor Warheim, assisted by number
Taylor Warheim with the goal for Carolina. The junior evens it up, and this one started back on the defensive side.
Yeah, Emily Knowles, number 1, put a lot of pressure, ball dropped. See Emma Trenchard firing out there, pushing on transition. Another defender, Katie Woodruff, boom, 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 all over the field. A lot of people touching the ball. That's what you like to see on offense.
Such quick passes. It was like Carolina knew exactly what they wanted to do, like they've practiced it before.
Yeah, knowing that next step before even having the ball, that's really next level, and being able to execute that as well. That's high pace. And just like that, now we're at 2-2.
Well, you said it, Carolina, an offensive threat at all times. Jenny Levy knows the goals are going to come. They finally get the defense to settle in and cause a turnover. Second draw control in a row, though, won by Stony Brook as Kennedy came away with it.
I think we'll see Kennedy doing a lot on the field this game. From defense to draw, goal scoring or assists.
I mean, Joe Spallina, when we talked to him, could not have heaped any more praise on Allie Kennedy, and all of it, every ounce was deserving. Does everything that they can ask for out on the field and off the field, he said.
Yes, Kennedy is a workhorse. I've gotten to know her with the U.S. team, and she never gets tired. It blows my mind. You'd think after running down the field as hard as she can for 80 yards, and she's got just as much power in her shot, and to be able to play smart as well.
Type of player that frustrates a defense because of something like that. Nice feed there, and Stony Brook going to take the lead right back. This time it is Kaylee Huff.
That is well executed by Stony Brook. I mean, they were poised. Carolina defense was on them pretty tight, and it's a small window to be able to get that ball off and finish.
Pass on point, and Huff able to handle the contact as Mastriani was right on her hip.
I'm sure that feels good for Huff, her first goal in a Stony Brook uniform, coming from the West Coast at University of Southern California.
Huff, a big-time player out at USC, actually was recruited by Spallina out of high school, decided to go out to the West Coast, but was able to draw her back once she entered that transfer portal for her final season.
Yeah, she's back in Long Island where she grew up.
And comes from a lacrosse family. I mean, it runs deep in her family. Her dad, 2 uncles as well, all three played professionally for the New York Saints. Her brother Ryan plays at Penn State, and her sister Kelsey was at USC with her.
Sounds like a good family setup.
Yeah, some good genes if you're trying to play some lacrosse.
Yeah.
First time we've seen a change at the draw control for Carolina. This is Scotty Rose Growney, the senior. Growney, excuse me.
Looked to be a push on the draw for that, so Carolina awarded the ball.
playing a zone here, Stony Brook, you mentioned it early. With that, is it easier to take away an offensive threat like a Katie Hogue or a Jamie Ortega?
In the zone, it depends on the type of defenders that you have.
There's an answer from North Carolina, just like the 2-0 deficit they faced. Just one this time, but Taylor Warheim able to get the goal.
That is
coming from behind the cage for Carolina.
Yeah, no surprise. Hogue was a feeder on that, so poised. And Warheim, she's secret back there on offense. You hear of Ortega and Hogue, but Warheim is a finisher.
Somebody that Coach Levy said is an extremely smart player and not a superstar in the sense of looking for her own stats, but more of a chemistry player. And when you have those superstars, that's what makes the nice whole unit.
Yes, Warheim is superstar off the ball. So you won't see her having the ball a lot or feeding, but that's where she's at threat. She cut. She knew the right time.
First couple of seasons at Carolina, 26 games played for 44 goals. He's gotten off to a good start here in the 2021 season. This one's going to go to Carolina. Talked about the draws from the very top and keeping an eye on it. Seems to have been pretty even. Right now, Carolina has won 4-3 for Stony Brook.
Draws are going to be key, and especially not fouling on the draw. That's the easiest way to give the team the other ball, is you have to have that discipline and not foul.
And it's got to be tough. You want to have a certain amount of physicality at the draw, but at the same time knowing where that line is to not give up possession.
Absolutely. I mean, the ball's 50-50. Each team wants it to.
Hogue on the restart for Carolina. 2 goals for Warheim, 1 for Hogue. On the other side, Kennedy with 2 for Stony Brook. Huff with the latest. Shot clock starting to wind down, 20 seconds.
We've seen these two teams on offense be able to convert majority of the time, so we'll see if Stony Brook can stop them here.
Good anticipation as that one is taken away. Off and running across midfield. Here comes Huff. Good defense from Stony Brook to cause that turnover, and the anticipation from Huff.
That was smart by Stony Brook. They're a team that is good in transition, and they'll go to goal if they see it, but they're smart, held on to it, or waiting for their opportunity. Big play on defense, too, to get that ball.
Good defense there from Taylor Moreno. Kennedy with the jab step, finds a crease, a save made though.
Huge save at the doorstep. Kennedy has a hard shot, and great save by Moreno to get that ball back for Carolina.
The senior from Huntington, New York. Interesting story when talking with Coach Levy. She plays, as you're very well aware, having played in it, a 2-goalie system. And typically, she said, when you get to the college level is when you might see that. But for Marino, she never played a full game before she got to Carolina. Kind of a transition for her because they have used her in full game situations.
Marino suffered a couple ACL knee injuries in high school.
There's Ortega. Ortega deposits it in the back of the cage.
Our goal number 3, Jamie Ortega.
first goal of the season for Ortega. And North Carolina has their first lead of the game, Kaylee.
And we see Ortega on the board now.
Ortega from Hogue, Carolina on the board and in the lead. It's been an extremely entertaining game so far. Carolina with the 1-goal lead thanks to the Ortega goal just before the break. Look at the Stony Brook team right there. Joe Spallina, the head coach for Stony Brook in his 10th season, and a guy that you've gotten to play underneath a little bit. What makes him so successful?
Spallina, he brings a lot of energy, and that can transcend into his players and how they play on the field as well. He's smart, he sees the game as a whole and trying to progress it, and it's so creative and gives his players that freedom to be very creative and take chances.
You said brings a lot of energy. He very willingly admitted that his style compared to Jenny Levy's are pretty much polar opposites. He's loud and in your face, where she's kind of the sit back and watch and then talk about it later.
Yes. An article came out about Jenny saying she's the Zen. Girls related to her with like that calm yoga-ness.
Despite the coaching contrast, off the field, really great friends, and a big reason why this game was not supposed to happen, but came together in just a 2 or 3 day span.
Yeah, they highly respect each other, and they both want to be the best, so they're going to face off. And Stony Brook, they thought they were opening their season on Thursday against Villanova. Look at this, a few days early.
Yeah, Carolina was actually supposed to. It's been an extremely entertaining game so far. Carolina with the 1-goal lead thanks to the Ortega goal just before the break. Look at the Stony Brook team right there. Joe Spallina, the head coach for Stony Brook in his 10th season, and a guy that you've gotten to play underneath a little bit. What makes him so successful?
Spallina, he brings a lot of energy, and that can transcend into his players and how they play on the field as well. He's smart, he sees the game as a whole and trying to progress it, and it's so creative and gives his players that freedom to be very creative and take chances.
You said brings a lot of energy. He very willingly admitted that his style compared to Jenny Levy's are pretty much polar opposites. He's loud and in your face, where she's kind of the sit back and watch and then talk about it later.
Yes. An article came out about Jenny saying she's the Zen. Girls related to her with like that calm yoga-ness.
Despite the coaching contrast, off the field, really great friends, and a big reason why this game was not supposed to happen, but came together in just a 2 or 3 day span.
Yeah, they highly respect each other, and they both want to be the best, so they're going to face off. And Stony Brook, they thought they were opening their season on Thursday against Villanova. Look at this, a few days early.
Yeah, Carolina was actually supposed to open their season yesterday, so having the game rescheduled, yes, it's a different opponent, but at least you were gearing up towards this weekend being the start of the season. Stony Brook still had a few more days. Thursday was supposed to be their first game.
A quick turnaround. This is similar to conference play, though. Now you could play in quarterfinals of a game, and then a day or two later, you then have to prepare.
Joe told us that when they were having these conversations trying to get this game underway, he had gone to his administrators and they blankly said, "Are you guys ready to play this game?" He said, "Oh, no, we're not, but neither are they. We've only got 2 days, but we want to go and compete."
Yes. He will do what it takes. He believes in his team, too.
Another foul off the draw, going to give possession here to Stony Brook. Five shots for the Seawolves so far in the game. All 5 of them have been on frame. A little behind the back shot and a heads up save there by Moreno.
Now, I'm sure Moreno was ready for that because she has teammates herself in practice who will throw behind the back.
Great outlet pass, got Carolina up into the attacking zone quickly, looking for more. Pass a little bit high for Ortega, somehow brought it down and puts it in the cage.
Tar Heels goal number 3, J.D. Ortega, assisted by number 8, Kate Hope.
I think that was the Hogue-Ortega connection again, getting it done for Carolina.
Giving each other the give and go. Started though with Moreno ready for that. Caroline Wakefield was on the girls' hands. O'Miller, Carolina took care of the ball. Give and go. You know, I mean, Ortega gives it off to Hogue. Now you think Hogue's the threat. So everyone's eyes goes to the ball at Hogue, and Ortega keeps moving through the space. Give and go.
Individually, both fantastic attackers, but the fact that they're such veterans and the chemistry they have created with each other, I think is why they're on just a different level as a duo than anybody else that I think you've ever seen.
Yeah, Ortega, she knows Carolina lacrosse with Hogue. That's all her years have been, and she is a lefty, Hogue's a righty. They mesh really well.
Talked about how Carolina got off to such a hot start last year, 7-0, thought that they were going to really go after that third national championship in school history. Those two players had some mind-blowing stats through those 7 games. The two of them combined for 97 points. Again, that was just in 7 games.
Kyle, if you were to just say that about one player for a team, that'd be phenomenal. And
for an entire season.
And it goes to show the team as well that they're being set up in these positions to get all those points as well.
Carolina wins that draw control cleanly. Been outshot by Stony Brook so far, but have the 2-goal lead.
Stony Brook defense shifts a little bit depending on where the ball goes to be ready for that help.
Talked a little bit about how Stony Brook plays a zone, Carolina more of the man defense. From a goalkeeper's perspective, how is that different in what you do?
There's a lot more movement through the 8 with the zone, where it's one-on-one, man-on-man. You know, you can see it a lot more easily. You know, the girls dodging one, help coming from here, but zone is a little bit more chaotic, and it works depending on what kind of style and players that you have. Zone takes a lot of communication.
First free position for Carolina, and Hogue just lets one rip. Save made though by Halsell.
Halsell with a big save and getting the outlet quick.
Three unanswered goals from Carolina. Stony Brook looking for some offense themselves. Got a couple of really quick goals from Kennedy. The third coming from Huff, but the Carolina defense, more so the Carolina offense, has stepped up. Whistle behind the cage there. What have you seen from either the Carolina defense that has slowed the Stony Brook offense here in the last few minutes, or is it something that Stony Brook has been doing or not?
Carolina defense they're very much so playing it looks as if they're a tight unit that's trusting each other. So when you see your other defender guarding someone who has the ball and you're just trusting them, hey, she's gonna force her out, and then instinctually knowing when the time is right. So Carolina defense, they don't look too antsy to jump on things, and sometimes that can create opportunities for Stony Brook offense. Right now they're just very poised with their players.
Talk about the veteran leadership on the offensive side for Carolina. They've got it on the defensive side too, which is probably a part of the reason that you say they look like a complete unit out there.
You see see Elizabeth Hillman out here. This is her first time out on the field. She's dealt with injuries, was highly recruited coming in. I'm sure this is exciting for her to get this opportunity.
She was actually the top recruit when she came to Carolina. They've got 3 of those on this current roster.
Hillman decided not to take that shot, probably because it was a little low angle. Fortunately, we've seen that Carolina, they lose the ball passing just on top of the 8.
Both teams a little bit sloppy here. Turnover from each side. Carolina going to look to capitalize as they get into the attacking third. They don't have numbers, though, and a smart play from, as I just mentioned, a top-ranked freshman, Carolyn Wurzberger, this year's top-ranked freshman coming to Carolina.
Yeah, Caitlin Wurzberger didn't get her senior season, and so I'm sure there's little nerves out there, but she's been waiting a long time to be playing college lacrosse. She committed in 8th grade to Syracuse and then changed her mind to Carolina.
A player that, and this carries a lot of weight when Jenny Levy says, no offense to any of the other players I've ever had, but she is the most prepared freshman I've ever seen, really makes you pay attention.
Yes, she's a highly anticipated player to watch this game.
Shot clock down to 30 for Carolina. Ortega and Wurzberger back and forth behind the cage. Ortega looks to make a move, can't find a pass. We are going to get a whistle from behind the play.
Carolina offense is spending a lot of time behind at X. I mean, we have there are those players who are threats there, but then it opens the door.
That shot high over the cage, and the players on the backside not ready for it. That is Julia Markey. It hit her right in the throat. You're tougher than I am, immediately waving off the referee saying she's okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of handcuffed her as that one got onto her.
That's gotta hurt, yikes. Right in the throat, but what we've seen, these 2 defenders who've gotten hit with the ball, they're tough. They're not looking to flop on the ground, which some players, you'll see them do that and look for that card.
Senior out of Mount Sinai, actually started her career off at Campbell. Transferred to Stony Brook. This is her 2nd season with the team. Just like when we saw a ball hit a Carolina player on the other side, refs getting together, hashing this one out to make sure they get the call right.
Yeah, I don't know if this would be considered a dangerous shot because Markey was behind the goal line.
I think that maybe is what they were explaining to Kennedy.
Because you got to know when you're behind there that that's a heads up, and that's probably why she just took it like a champ. Like,
you're on the field, you're near the cage, head on a swivel.
Yes, it's part of the sport.
You love to see when referees are agreeing, head shaking as up and down nods. Just getting on the same page, ready to go here though.
It does seem uncommon though that defenders are getting hit with the ball. It's unusual first 15 plus minutes of the game. You'll see in high school lacrosse, some states have mandated helmets.
Both coaches getting a breakdown of what is going on out on the field and what the referees have decided. You know, I got to tell you, Coach Spallina out there looking sharp, even in the bad weather, 8-hour bus ride to get here.
That's what he's known for. Spallina shows up to games looking sharp. It's a typical outfit for him.
Action back underway, and Carolina wastes absolutely no time.
Number 22, Taylor
another goal. That is her
Hat trick
third.
for Wareheim already.
She may have heard that she's a superstar off the ball. She says, I want to be a superstar on the ball as well.
It's that backside that sometimes defenses can lose track of because the people who are near the ball are big threats. You got Wartzberger, you got Hogue. Eyes are totally on them.
Hogue doing what she does. The all-time leader in assists at Carolina picks up her third of the game. She's got 165 assists in her career now.
Hogue has incredible vision, and she's so smart about it. She doesn't try and force it. You know, she's not like looking to try and just build those stats of assists. She really waits and knows when the time is right.
When we talked with Coach Levy, you asked the coaches, give me a word or two on every player. And in my opinion, the highest praise that a coach can ever give a player in any sport is they make everybody around them better. And that is exactly what she said about Katie Hogue.
Yes, you've been seeing that with Hogue for a few years now. She's been doing that with all players, whether it's Ortega, Wareheim.
Draw control still fairly close, 5-4. Carolina came away with it clearly, and then another whistle gonna come in from behind.
Looks like Hillman was accidentally tripped on that.
The one category where I think Stony Brook has hurt themselves so far in this game are fouls. That's the 9th they've been whistled for so far.
Especially fouls on the draw, because like I said, Kyle, that's a given possession right there.
Make it 10 as there's another one behind the cage. It's been 4 unanswered goals from Carolina. Had a nice pass there right in front of the mouth of the cage. Ball to the ground and a quick pickup for the keeper, Halsall. Been a while since Stony Brook has been on this side of the field. They'll set up the offense. Three goals in the game so far for the Seawolves, 2 from Kennedy, 1 from Huff. There's a bad pass.
That hurts. Stony Brook was getting set up in their offense.
Foot race won by Carolina. Just the 3rd turnover of the game for Stony Brook, but it really comes in a bad spot.
That'll happen in games sometimes, just the fundamentals, some of those mistakes. But as long as you can get over it and move on, it won't linger too much.
And I think probably especially early in a season, you're gonna have that more and more in a pandemic season as we had last year. Carolina adds another one to the tally. First one of the career for the freshman Wartzberger. Movement from Carolina.
Another threat from Max Wartzberger. Wow. I mean, when she caught that ball, you didn't think that she really had time or space to shoot that, but that was in and out, quick stick. Great vision by her to be able to take a look at the goalie a second before, catch that ball and finish.
In high school, scoring was nothing new to Caitlin Wartzberger. Actually, the national leader in points for a high school career had over 1,000.
That is just an unheard of number.
I don't know where else to go with that.
I don't even know what to compare that to, but she's certainly ready for her college career to make a mark in that.
Looks like we got a yellow card on the field.
That may have came from Wartzberger's shot. I think there was a push. Or maybe from the draw. Oh, Stony Brook is the man up. So it was a foul on Carolina.
Correction, no goal. Yellow
So that goal
card,
going to be
number
waived
13,
off actually because of the penalty. So Wurzburger thought she had her first goal of her collegiate career. Going to have to wait a little bit longer though. Stony Brook with the man up opportunity, and Coach Spallina going to call a timeout here. I think it's a really good opportunity for him to call that timeout and regroup his team, get a good offensive possession here. They need to get a goal.
Yeah, we'll see a different defense from Carolina now that they're man down, and Stony Brook, they'll also come out with a different offense. You know, when you're set up in these situations, you don't run the same offense that you always do because you're a man up. So typically move the ball around and look for that backside to be open.
The offense for Carolina has been clicking on all cylinders, and it is because of Katie Hogue and what she has been able to do for the Heels. 3 assists, which is no surprise. She's also added a goal in.
Yeah, Hogue has practically been part of all the goals that has happened, and it goes to show how much Stony Brook has their eyes on her. She is that main threat.
Has been involved in 4 of the 6 goals scored for the Tar Heels. And the numbers you see there entering today. So add 3 more assists, add 4 more points to those totals, which both are UNC records.
I'm sure that Hogue will continue to break those records that she has last year, the year before. And that's something that she doesn't even think about.
Setting a record at a place like Carolina is, and I don't mean this to talk bad about another school, but it's not the same as setting a record most other places. Final season for her, redshirt senior last year, along with Ortega, the co-national player of the year. Don't know that you can ever find that in any sport ever, where 2 teammates have split the national player of the year award.
That seems like a scary setup, having to face that. You almost would wish they were the same year and graduate together. So it's the opposing team. You can say bye to that. But
see what Stony Brook drew up in the timeout. They've got themselves the preseason national player of the year. She's got the ball in her stick right now. Kennedy will give it up to Huff. Right in front, and there's the answer for Stony Brook.
That's exactly what you want to see when you're Stony Brook and man up, executing that goal to be scored.
Siobhan Rafferty scoring the goal for the Seawolves. Redshirt junior from Long Beach, New York.
Seeing a lot of action from X and great ball handling as well. That's tight in there.
Rafferty, first team all-conference back in 2019. This is her first game back, though, from an ACL injury that she suffered last year. Coach Spallina told us she didn't even have a fall practice, so she is really just starting to get going out there again.
She's looking comfortable.
61 career goals for her. And a big answer there from Stony Brook to have the man-up opportunity. Carolina had scored 4 unanswered.
And that goal, the card is releasable. So with Stony Brook scoring, it now makes it even on the field. If Carolina were to have scored, the card wouldn't have been released.
And that whole sequence we can go to, how big is it for Stony Brook that it, instead of being a goal for Carolina, making it 7-3, turns into a penalty and then they score the goal.
Yes.
Talking about the difference between a 4-goal game and a 2-goal game. They win the draw control here.
Yes, and you hear coaches say, don't worry about the scoreboard, but it's there, it's around you, so it's hard not to. 2-goal difference is much different than 4.
It's like a coach telling players, don't read the newspapers. Good luck with that. Bad pass there. Caitlin Hart just had that one fly out of the stick. Turnover. Be the 4th of the game. Gives it to North Carolina.
And we've seen Carolina do that as well on offense, passing from up top, and ball just kind of goes flying away from the girl's stick. So you wonder if it's weather conditions.
It has rained here for want to say it's past 5 days. There's been at least a little bit of rain every day. The field has seemed like it has held up pretty well, though. Feed to Hillman. Going to draw a whistle.
That will be a shooting space on Stony Brook.
Hillman, a redshirt sophomore, didn't play last year or in the fall. Just like Rafferty on the other side. She coming off of an elbow injury, though. Gives it up on the restart.
Hillman, that's twice she's decided not to take that 8-meter shot. You know, sometimes players get that from the coach, being told, hey, pull it out. And it can depend on how the angle that they're at and whether there maybe is an opportunity elsewhere on a better opportunity elsewhere on the field. And I think that's what Carolina was looking for right there, but ball got thrown away.
Each team with 8 shots in the game. Carolina giving the Seawolves all sorts of trouble right now. Stony Brook trying to advance ball upfield, finally able to get it out of the goalkeeper's stick, and then it is going to be lost. 3 white jerseys there to pick it up.
That is a big play. We haven't seen these teams really ride hard like that this game.
Ortega gets it into the attacking zone, gives it up to Hogue, and Carolina very deliberate here as they set up the offense. A couple of changes being made by Jenny Levy. Stony Brook going to start to up the pressure. Hogue able to find a teammate in front of the cage. That is Wareheim again. She's got 4.
Goal, Tar Heels, number 22, Taylor Wareheim, assisted by number 8.
4 goals for Wareheim, 4 assists for Hogue, and the Carolina defense causing the turnover, which led to the goal. It is a 7-4 lead for Carolina here in the first half. Alongside Kaylee Waters, I'm Kyle Straub. Fantastic game so far here in this first half, and just how you want to kick off the season. A top 10 matchup. Wasn't the one that we expected to have, Kaylee, but it was still a top 10 matchup that we thought it was going to be. North Carolina scheduled to take on James Madison as we look at the preseason top 10. Stony Brook said, hey, we'll go ahead and play and up what was going to be a good game to an even better matchup.
Yeah, pretty highly anticipated game for the past 72 hours, and that's how it's turned out to be. We've seen some great lacrosse by both teams. You don't know what to expect. It's been 10 months since these teams have played someone else, and while there are experienced girls out there, no one really knows what that feeling's like to have gotten that season taken away midway through when both those teams had a lot of momentum in that 2020 season.
Saw the top 3 spots in the preseason poll, all occupied by ACC teams, Carolina, Notre Dame, and Syracuse. Syracuse, a team that Stony Brook scheduled to play soon. They actually upset the Cuse last year to open the season.
They did. That was a big win for Stony Brook and kind of set in their minds and proved to people, hey, we can compete with top 5 teams.
This is the 4th time Stony Brook has played a top-ranked team. All 3 of the other games that were played against the number 1 were all ironically against Maryland. 1 in a regular season, the other 2 in postseason. Stony Brook coming up on the short end of all 3 of those games. But as Coach Spallina told us, they have been there. They've been knocking on the door of being one of the elite teams. He feels like this year, with the depth they have, they've got the ability to take that next step.
this backer defense from Stony Brook, how it usually works is you can have a backer where it's the same girl who's kind of running around as that help. But this, we're seeing Stony Brook shift depending on where the ball is. So it's not always the same backer. And that helps so that the defender doesn't get tired. It's definitely relying on a lot of communication, trust, knowing where your teammates are and should be.
How much of that communication is from the goalie as well, who's got the overall view to be able to tell players, hey, we need to get somebody moved over, shift this way?
The goalie is going to be communicating about where the ball is. It's the other defenders off ball who need to be communicating a lot. They can see what's happening.
Shot clock down to 20 for Carolina. Wertzberger and Hogue back and forth, and a whistle as Hogue tried to come around the backside of the cage. 4 assists for her so far here in the first half, and a little bit surprising, her career high is 6 in a game for somebody who has as many assists as she does, 166 now on the career. You would think there was a game maybe she got up towards double digits. Rifles one right at the keeper. Halsall up to the task, makes the save.
Hogue, that's her second time on that 8-meter, taking it from the hash and not running in. Well, she does have a rip. She may be a little furious that she hasn't been able to ping it at those corners.
Bad passing from Stony Brook gives it right back to Carolina. First 20 minutes or so of this first half, Stony Brook had done a good job of holding on to the ball, just 2 turnovers, but since then they have turned it over 4 times. Great pass to Ortega. She was pushed, I think she was pushed into the circle. We'll get Sydney Gagnon, a graduate student on that one. Carolina off the free position. I like how they work that ball around to the weak side. Shot off the mark. They will keep possession though.
Yeah, that's that opportunity they were looking for, you know. She didn't think that she had that great angle to finish on the goal, so.
Kerrigan Miller, first season with Carolina. Grad transfer from USC.
She is facing off against a former teammate, Huff, at Stony Brook, who was once at USC as well.
The player that Coach Levy really talked about how much she has helped the midfield, which was the one unit that she said was extremely young. She said Miller has come in and really helped those young players grow and solidify the midfield. Good work to get through a couple of defenders. Shot taken.
Some good respect on that defender. Nice to help girl up.
5 minutes to go here in this first half. Stony Brook jumped out to the 2-0 lead. Had it at 3-2 as well. Since then, the Carolina offense starting to click. Led by Taylor Wareheim. 4 goals so far for the junior.
Stony Brook is going to be looking for an opportunity just to shoot. Now that's what Carolina defense has stopped them from for a while.
Since that 3-2 lead that Stony Brook had, the only shot they've been able to take, which turned into a goal, was when they had a man-up opportunity. Here's Carolina, great passing as they get upfield. Numbers ahead for the Tar Heels. Hogue, nobody in front. Great save, though, by Halsall. Point-blank range. The Stony Brook keeper comes up with her 4th save.
That is huge. High energy transition, to be ready for that, especially when your team is down a man on that transition.
.418 career save percentage for Cameron Halsall, redshirt junior keeper. One of the players that Coach Spallina really highlighted, that she is going to be huge, need her to come up with some saves. Not able to stop that one from Ortega, though.
Number 3, Jamie Ortega, assisted by number 8, Katie Hogue.
another goal from Carolina that started at the X. We've seen that as a big threat.
Hat trick for Ortega. Let's take a look at the save, though, from Halsall first. Carolina got upfield really quickly.
Also, she fell for that initial fake, but had those quick hands to get a piece of the ball, and that's big because it then allows your defense and middies time to get settled and be there instead of having to play defense on a fast break.
All 3 goals for Ortega have been assisted by Hogue, who now has 5 in this first half.
And all 3 have been quick. I mean, you do not see Ortega with the ball that long.
Chemistry that has been built over the 5 years on campus for those two. First goal that Ortega scored, didn't mention it, but broke a tie, put her into 4th place all by herself in the all-time goals scored list for Carolina. Came into the season with 183 on the career, now has 186.
And a whole season ahead and a whole season next year.
And going back to the stat I gave earlier of what she did in combination with Hogan, just 7 games last season, 32 goals coming in those 7 games for Ortega.
That would have been a good stat even just for a season.
Again, Carolina on the offensive attack. Draw control starting to tip towards Carolina. Hillman through some traffic, through a whistle. Her first goal of the game, pass over the head of Wareheim, who it was intended for.
Yeah, big play by Hillman to be ready for that. Yeah, that's team play, picking up after your teammates and just being fearless, going hard in that. Even though there was a foul, the goal counted because it was at the same time as the whistle.
Saw her on a couple of free positions, pass up the shot opportunity, and you pointed it out. No hesitation from her there, though.
Yeah, and that's really smart by Hillman. I mean, she hasn't played in 2 years. She's highly recruited. I'm sure she's excited and wants a goal, and just very smart and poised, and it goes to show it's team play.
Redshirt sophomore, top freshman when she came to Carolina, and rightfully so, won a gold medal with the U19 team back in 2019.
Big draw control by Stony Brook. We'll see, she has to go back to that area in which the foul started, even though it's a self-start. That kind of defeats the purpose sometimes when you have so much momentum running. And
to pull you back.
Yep.
A little bit over 2 minutes for Stony Brook to try and get something of an answer from the offense. They had the early lead, but since then, this Carolina defense has stifled them.
Stony Brook's probably going to look to kind of take more care of the ball. Even we've seen Carolina drop the ball as well when they're feeding on offense, but Stony Brook's going to need to get that second ball if that were to happen.
Part of that defense for Carolina that is so stout, led by the senior number 23, Emma Trencher. On the ball, has been described as possibly one of, if not the best, one-on-one defender. And not just at the collegiate level. Nice move there from Kennedy. Takes a big hit, though.
That's probably why we see Trenchard in a Kennedy matchup. They're the best at what they do.
There are those two. Kennedy able to get just a step. That is Hillman coming in to help. Free position here for Stony Brook. 1 for 1 so far today. Hillman gets in, close shot. And we're going to get a whistle on a push. see all the rubber beads stuck to her from going down.
Yeah, it looks like slippery conditions, but also Kennedy is so quick that when defenders get a hand on her, they're behind her. So you got to make sure that you're quicker than Kennedy so that it doesn't cause a foul.
Bounces this one, and the save will be made by Moreno. And a quick correction on my part, because this is not a turf field. It's all natural. That's just how wet it is. That was mud that was all over her arm and leg. Carolina can set up that offense. It's about 2 seconds difference between the shot clock and the game clock for Carolina. You got to imagine they're going to try and hold for this last possession.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also good experience to get that in, right? Of, how can you play when game clock and shot clock are similar? Being able to play the clock down.
Save on the other end for Moreno, her 6th of the game.
And Moreno's saves have been huge because Carolina has been able to take care of the ball in transition, and it's not a save and a rebound and then Stony Brook puts it away. It's Carolina's getting the ball out safely.
3 straight seasons for her on the preseason All-America list, a .528 career save percentage. Here's the 4th free position for Carolina, 0 for 3 so far. Ortega has that one knocked out. Ortega looking for her 4th goal of this first half, has it knocked away.
Also the lefty able to get that out under high pressure. Stony Brook now has just a few seconds.
Away, and the turnover at midfield will go back to Carolina. Not going to be enough time for Ortega, as she'll just toss that one towards the cage. Great first half, though, from both of these teams. Carolina with the 5-goal lead right now. Big time top 10 matchup to open up the season, and you got to love that that's how we open up the year. Stony Brook, North Carolina, both having their first game postponed. They said, all right, we're not afraid of some competition. Let's get together and play. And that is exactly what we have. Everybody on that list getting underway this week, or at least scheduled to. James Madison, the team that North Carolina was supposed to play yesterday, their season has been delayed to start. Almost ready to go here in the second half. And for North Carolina, we talked about it in the open. When you played for Jenny Levy, a 2-goalie system, Taylor Moreno has been out there before for a full game, and that looks like what they're going to do here in this one.
Taylor was playing her game. She has 6 saves, over 50%. That's what Coach Levy likes to see, and she's definitely held it down well for the defense. 6
saves for her, and especially the last one, which Carolina turned into a goal on the opposite end to push their lead out to where it is at 5. Alongside Kaylee Waters, I'm Kyle Straub. Gorgeous Dorrance Field here on the campus of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
We'll see if Taryn O'Miller gets on the board. She's a little quiet in the first half. I know she's a big threat and playmaker for Stony Brook. And also wondering if we'll see other Stony Brook players. They have middies very strong in the midfield who can score as well. So I think they'll look across the board for those players to get some shooting opportunities.
That's a great point there. T.O. they call her, Taryn O'Miller. Quarterback on the field, according to Coach Spallina, and she knows how to score in buckets. 167 goals on her career, 5th most at Stony Brook. Didn't hear from her at all in the first half, though.
This is looking like the first half. Halsell had possession of the ball within the first minute and a half.
Carolina has really stepped up in the midfield, making it tough for Stony Brook to get across and into that attacking third. Coach has been Spalina in the background there. Extremely vocal coach. Race to keep possession.
It can be a little risky of a crease roll when you don't have a teammate behind to get that if it shoots wide, but that was a good hustle on Stony Brook to get the ball back.
Rafferty able to win that foot race, keep possession. Nice pass right in front of the cage, and Stony Brook converts.
And that's what they've been looking for that first half. The feed from X up top. You know, it's distracting up top for those defenders. They don't see the ball, and Stony Brook cutting, doing backdoors.
Rafferty, assisted by number 20.
Rafferty had the hustle to keep possession, rewarded here as she picks up her second goal of the game.
And that's what I mentioned, you know, they just needed that opportunity with their hands a little bit more free to be able to finish that shot.
Rafferty, a player who missed last season, but last time she was on the field for the Seawolves, 2019, earned first team all-conference honors.
She's making a point for Stony Brook. She hasn't skipped a beat, you know, providing 2 of those goals for them.
Gives her 62 in her career, that in just 38 games played. Saw both teams use a couple of different players at the draw control, but back to where they both started.
Yeah, they're going pretty head-to-head on the draw control possessions.
Julia Markey, excuse me, that is Charlotte Verhulst for the Seahawks. For North Carolina, Allie Mastriani.
Stony Brook got that because they had 3 girls swarming the ball over 1 Carolina girl.
I think if you take away the fouls on draw controls, Stony Brook has probably gotten the better of free wins coming away with it, but they have committed a handful of fouls that have given them to North Carolina. Tough defense there from Wakefield. She's going to be whistled for the foul, though. Anchor of that Carolina defense, the redshirt senior. What'd you see there?
Stony Brook is pushing a little bit more around the crease in the sense of looking for that opportunity of rolling.
Shot from Ohlmiller over the top of the cage.
Which Ohlmiller knows that's some of her specialty is rolling that crease. She is strong, and her defender Wakefield is just as strong too. So we'll see who wins that battle.
Ohlmiller, a 3-time All-American. Also, one of 5 players in today's game that was an invite to the tryouts for the U.S. national team.
I'm sure she'll be happy to be on the same field as her sister again, Kylie, who is training as well with the U.S. national team. Ooh, that was a big opportunity.
Rafferty able to get wide open, but the pass over her head. Big collision right on the near sideline. Kennedy and Ortega got the worst of it. Both players at full speed, and
wonder if the ref is gonna call a foul on that. It looked a little bit like a football setup, but
Kennedy definitely wasn't playing the ball there.
She also, she looked to stop her feet, not keep moving through, but I did see a little shoulder dip on that. I don't know what's worse, running into Kennedy with her, she's real fast, just straight on, or her stopping her feet a little, getting a shoulder.
Not what you want to see if you're a Carolina fan. Ortega needing to be helped off of the field. Take another look at this one and listen to the collision as they come together. Initially, because of the way that shoulder went into her, I thought maybe it was that she got the wind knocked out of her, but you could see her limping over on the sideline. Hope that she'll be able to make it back into this game.
Absolutely, that is tough physical play out there. You don't usually see that.
3 goals in the game for Ortega. Carolina will have to look for a different offensive answer as they get things set up in the attacking third. Looks like Melissa Scanone, sophomore from North Carolina, the one who came on to replace Ortega. She is giving chase to that ball, pass a little bit off the mark, and it is going to go to Stony Brook.
Scanone must have thought that it tipped off Stony Brook. Notice the way the ball was rolling out.
It looks like maybe they're going to reverse call. They do give it to Carolina.
You can hear the arguing on the sidelines of which team touched the ball last.
That is a difference that I'll tell you I really have enjoyed, and now they're going to give it to Stony Brook. But with the pandemic and the way games are done now, not having the crowd, you can hear a lot more from the sidelines from the teams.
Yeah, and you can also hear on the field that communication too.
Almost 5 minutes into this second half, still at the same score we were at halftime. Both teams have had opportunities here in the second half. The goalkeepers have been up to par though. Huff thought about it and then backs out.
She had that hole, but who knows, maybe it's because Trenchard was coming in on her that she decided to pull away. Notice both these teams on offense, they've taken about 20 to 30 seconds or so to get settled and then attack.
When they do get on the attack, it happens quickly, but you're right. They have absolutely been very patient and methodical and waiting for the right moment. Shot clock down to 20 for the Seawolves. As the shot clock gets deeper, the field gets more and more compact. That shot over top of the cage stays with the Seawolves. Quick restart, shot, goal!
That is smart on Stony Brook. The ball, you can self-start when the ball goes out in Carolina defense. They have to be ready for that. It's tough to give away that kind of goal, not be ready for that, but very smart play by Stony Brook.
And watch the ball come off the brick as well, able to play that rebound. Ohlmiller able to find Kennedy as the top 2 attackers and offensive players for Stony Brook combined for a goal. Kennedy creeping towards the 200 goal mark for her career. Up to 196 right now. And Kaylee, that has come in 70 games played.
Wow. And, she has high statistics in other categories as well. She's not just a goal scorer. Carolina went early on that one.
4 straight draw controls won by Stony Brook now. Looks like a whistle coming in from behind the play. First goal of the second half goes to Stony Brook.
Stony Brook offense looking pretty spread out right now, and then at one point you notice they all shift.
Seawolves favored to win their 8th straight America East title. And there's another one, a quick goal for the Seawolves. I think that was Rafferty. That gives her a hat trick.
Assisted by number 4.
Rafferty's a secret weapon for them today. The way that she's able to handle this ball, 2 girls on her front and back, she turns, doesn't even look at the cage and can put it away. There, now she sees it.
And to make a move like that, knowing she's coming off an ACL surgery, those are the type of moves that are usually the last thing, the confidence in your body to be able to do what you used to. Doesn't appear to be an issue for her at all.
No, not at all. And that was great placement of that shot. There's no way Moreno is saving that, but you know, for her right hand to come across her body like that and get it on offside hip, great placement.
Timeout for Carolina. Jenny Levy in her 26th season for North Carolina, 2-time national champion, 2-time national coach of the year as well. Doesn't like what she's seen here in the last couple of minutes. Quick goals given up to Stony Brook.
Similar to how that first half started out, though.
Very similar.
For Carolina, Stony Brook went on that 2-goal run. And Carolina hasn't even had that much possession of the ball this half.
Talked about it a little bit earlier. Carolina with a tough schedule. You play the number 6 team in the country. You back it up with number 7. You get into ACC play. And obviously, there is no easy game in conference. But North Carolina locked and loaded, ready to go this season. They think that they have one of, if not the best team they've ever had here.
Yeah, they have all of their starters returning. So that's great when it comes to chemistry as well, because that takes time to build. And also just they know each other, experience.
Look at Ortega, who took that hard hit when she collided with Allie Kennedy a few minutes ago. Looks like they're working on the left leg of Ortega, maybe taping up that ankle. Here's a look at Stony Brook's upcoming schedule. Villanova, the team they were supposed to play on Thursday, but because that one was postponed, made this game possible. A big rematch with Syracuse up in the Carrier Dome, a place where last year Stony Brook opened the season and shocked the Orange with a win.
It's 2 years in a row playing at the Carrier Dome, and that's an important place for the Syracuse people. They take pride in being able to play in that. It's very unique, and so for Stony Brook to have gotten that win is a big deal, and I'm sure they'll look for that again this year, being able to face off against the number 1 team and now number 3.
And for a coach like Joe Spallina, who told us, you know, I don't get top 50 recruits. It just doesn't happen here. They go to the bigger programs. I build players who get into that top 50 player. You play those kind of games, and it helps you to attract some more of those recruits, though.
Yeah, Spallini takes a lot of pride in that, and being able to prove, hey, you girls can play against these teams. Like, that builds confidence and, you know, proves that they're at that level too. He's always known it.
It's just getting the players to buy into that belief. A couple of seasons ago, Stony Brook actually ranked number 1 in the country. Once they get to the postseason, though, that's where they need to take that next step, get from the round of 2 and 3 and get into the Final Four, and they think that this is the year maybe they can do so. Carolina able to win that draw control. Big one for the Heels. They had lost 4 straight. Part of the reason that, as you said, the offense just hasn't had many opportunities here in this second half. Defensively, knowing that a player like Ortega is off the field, do you change up your tactics and try and focus more on Hogue and take her out of the play, or do you stick with what you do regardless of who's on that field?
Stick with what you do regardless of who's on that field, and that's what makes Carolina so dangerous as a team. They have depth in the attack.
There's Hillman for the Tar Heels. She had a goal in the first half. Ball knocked away. Hart the last one to touch it, but it'll stay with Carolina as Hogue was down near that end line. Excuse me, Huff the last one to touch it. All the conversations between the refs, I think they need to get earpieces so they can chat with each other and not have to run all the way across the field. That pass off the mark from Scanone. Nine turnovers in the game now for North Carolina.
Carolina isn't pressuring as much on the ride this time.
Do you think that's something that Coach Levy talked to them about in that timeout, of not worrying about the midfield as much and getting the defense set up? Or was it just that play, there wasn't an opportunity to really ride?
Yeah, I think it looked as if there was a substitution going in and out of the box, maybe changing midi lines, attack mids. Defense.
Moreno comes up with another big save. That's 7 for her. The substitutions are something that you and I had talked about prior to this game because it's different, and it was a pandemic rule change. Typically that box you can see up there is a universal box. Anybody can go in and out of it anywhere, but they have kind of quarantined it off. Each team has their own, which changes things a little bit.
Yeah, before, you'd run off the field and it's kind of like first base, you want to run through it. But this time, if you were to run through, you'd end up in the other team's box, and it's sectioned off.
A couple of turnovers here in the midfield between both of these teams. Because those boxes are changed off or sectioned off, it almost gives you a hockey type of line change where depending on the side of the field, you either have a short change or a long change. Something else to kind of just get used to.
And it makes a difference when clearing the ball. Sometimes you don't want to look at that box because teams could be subbing in and out.
Carolina with the goal here, almost 10 minutes into the second half for them to get on the board. Ali Mastriani finds the back of the cage, her first of the game. It's another give and go for Carolina.
Yeah, and Ali Mastriani, she has a rip, and so this is a new element that we're seeing of her up at the crease. It's kind of like you're used to Hogue or Ortega or Wareheim finishing on the crease, but that's the versatility of Carolina offense.
Mastriani now in her senior season, but has been out on the field for North Carolina since she was a freshman. And Coach Levy says one of the best Dodgers and one-on-one players that she has on the roster.
This game, I wonder if it has to do with the weather conditions, but
looks like Ortega coming back in. Didn't mean to cut you off, but that is a big, big sigh of relief for Carolina.
Yes, never know where that's going to go in that situation. She is tough, Ortega. I mean, you look at the past few years of her playing, teams face guard her. She gets real roughed up.
And that's when you're dealing with ankles, that's what we saw them taping up. When you're dealing with that, it's one of those injuries where it's almost if you can keep on playing, keep going, you're going to be all right until after the game, and then you can worry about the recovery.
Yeah, then you let it heal for a few days.
See how she is able to run once we get to full speed, draw control, won by the Seawolves.
Kyle, we haven't seen either team dodge a lot. It's solely been feeds, and that's what I was saying. I wonder if it has to do with the weather conditions of the field.
Not being able to plant that foot and cut the way you normally would want to.
Yeah, I mean, there are Dodgers on the field. Kennedy is a Dodger. Carolina has some, but a lot of this has been feeding.
Turn around, quick shot there from Ohlmiller as she tries to continue to get involved in this offense here in the second half. Shut down by the Tar Heels in the first 30, has picked up an assist on one of the 2 goals here in the second half.
You could hear that contact. being made.
This is senior Sarah Pullis. Really exploded on the scene last year, but was immediately met by the Carolina defender. That was Emily Knowles.
It was a great place for Knowles to be there. That's exactly where she's supposed to be, but just can't shove your hands out and do that.
Looked like a defender just got a stick in there as that shot was taken from Pullis. Made it sail over the crossbar. I think it was Julia Dorsey. Dorsey, a two-way player for the Tar Heels on the soccer team as well.
Things are looking a little more physical this half.
Woodruff whistled for the foul here, and it was an easy one for the ref. Sidearm shot that goes high. Kaylin Hart taking that one. Shot clock didn't reset, down to 5. Kennedy sees that, can't get a shot, and gives it up. Great defensive effort there from the Tar Heels.
Looking for that shooting space there that can happen.
First shot clock violation we have seen from either team so far in today's game. I think that just speaks to the high level of competition we're seeing out on that field.
Yes, and you'll see teams handle the shot clock 2 different ways. Some teams, they'll recognize it and roll the ball all the way to the corner, or other times they'll look to shoot.
You can see how heavy that rain is coming down now. More of a sprinkle to start the game. And it may be why things have gotten more physical and we haven't seen as much offense as we did in the first 30.
Yeah, a little unintentional physicality.
Temperatures not getting out of the 50s today here in Chapel Hill. From a player's standpoint, this is just your own personal opinion. Would you rather play in a little cold, rainy weather at the beginning of the year or the hot North Carolina humid summer weather towards the end of the season?
Probably the hot humid.
Neither is a good answer, though.
Hey, I'm playing in Carolina for 4 years. I'm used to that weather, so.
Fair enough.
Special having the sunshine and the Carolina blue skies out there.
Mastrioni to take the free position. She's got the 1 goal scored for the Tar Heels here in the second half. Going to take the shot, not. That one knocked away, and I think they got up near the head.
Carolina hasn't been able to convert on their free position shots this game.
They've had opportunities, 0 for 3 so far.
Yeah, both teams. I mean, Stony Brook is 1 for 6, Carolina 0 for 3. A little surprising.
With the firepower that both of these teams have, you would expect a little bit more of a conversion as Mastriani gets her second. The lead pushed back out to 4 for Carolina.
She must have heard us chirping about that.
Free position goal for Carolina, the first of the game for them as we head to the first break here of this second half. For that 3-0 run from Stony Brook, but now back out there for the Tar Heels.
That's one of those things as a player and a teammate, when you have someone go down, it's how do you be able to move on and focus on the game and not be worried? But luckily for Carolina, they have Ortega back.
3 goals for her so far in the game. One of 4 players who have a hat trick. 2 for Carolina, 2 for Stony Brook. Kennedy and Rafferty. It is Wareheim and Ortega for the Tar Heels. Mastriani, she's got 2, both of them coming in the second half. Carolina with the 11-7 lead. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I'm Kyle Straub alongside Kaylee Waters. A game that a week ago wasn't on the schedule. 3 days ago still wasn't on the schedule, but finally get it put on there, and in a couple of days Stony Brook takes the trip up to or down to North Carolina, and we have ourselves a fantastic opening season matchup. Tar Heels quick into their offense. Find an open player and a quick goal for the Tar Heels.
Carolina had space all day on that. You need to see the replay if Stony Brook changed up their defense.
First of the season for Scotty Rose Groney.
And that's what's successful for Carolina is keep passing the ball around. When that Stony Brook defense is in that backer, you know, it's hard to keep track of that and move as a unit.
6 different goal scorers for Carolina in the game now. That lead gets pushed back to 5, which is where it was at halftime. Stony Brook had done some really good work to score those 3 goals, get themselves back into it. But now as Carolina starts to get the wheels going, what adjustments need to be made?
Stony Brook, they have success, as I've mentioned, you know, when they get the opportunity to shoot with their hands free. And they got to take care of the ball a little bit more too, especially with the clock only 18 minutes left. You know, you need to be able to capitalize on the possessions that you have.
12 turnovers and 24 fouls against Stony Brook. After losing 4 draw controls in a row, Carolina has now won a few and get another opportunity on the offensive side of things.
Carolina is taking their time to get set on offense. You know, certainly running 50 seconds on the shot clock off.
And that's something that you had alluded to earlier. Both teams kind of being very patient as they get their offenses set up, looking for the feed right in front, but the defense able to take it away.
Oh, that's hard on the defensive end to get a clean interception like that. Usually the ball gets knocked down and then it's 50-50.
Almost catches you by surprise when you get a clean takeaway.
You saw a few people's feet kind of just stop. Like, oh, the ball, there's not an opportunity to get the ball.
Important possession here for the Stony Brook offense. Trailing by 5, needs somebody to step up. Kennedy with a couple early goals. First few minutes of the game for the Seawolves. Since then, North Carolina defense has really keyed on her. She's added 1 to her total here in the second half.
Looks like Kennedy might dodge here. Wakefield swiping that away from her and a clean pickup.
Wakefield, the redshirt senior, player that Coach Levy said is the anchor of our defense. Defense turned into offense by Carolina. 2 in a row for Groney. There have been a number of times in this game, Kaylee, where it has been defense turning into offense. Add another one.
Yeah, and as a coach, you'd love to see that. I mean, that defense by Wakefield is impressive.
A nice outlet pass to get that ball upfield quickly.
Boom, boom, and Scotty Rose with that power to get that ball to the stick side.
Player that they are really excited about, her potential coming into this one. 48 games played, 49 goals scored, but it was in 19, the NCAA tournament, where she really took a step to the next level, Coach Levy felt. Scored 10 goals in that tournament and got off to a really good start last year before things came to a halt.
She's a great player for Carolina. The ability to score from an 8-meter, rip it, hold on to the ball and finish.
As you would expect with a couple of top teams in the country, led by a couple of top coaches, Jenny Levy of the Tar Heels, Joe Spallina of Stony Brook, both of them on the U.S. national coaching staff. Jenny Levy, the head coach, Spallina, one of the assistants. And not just that that's what they're involved with, but these players in this game also getting some opportunities with the national team. 5 players between these two were part of the 50 that were invited to try out for the national team this year. And there's something a little bit different about the way it went this year. Can you explain that to the viewers, a tryout versus training?
Some of these players are already familiar with each other. Allie Kennedy, Kerrigan Miller, Emma Trenchard. They've been training with the U.S. Women's National Team for a few years now, and with the World Cup being postponed and pushed back to 2022, the U.S. Women's National Team is opening up tryouts to about 50 people, and that's where the invites came in for Taryn O'Miller and Katie Hogue as well.
Of those 50 players, these two programs, not players specifically on the field, but these two programs had 13 players that were invited to those tryouts. My partner sitting next to me, one of those 13.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're very welcome. You're the one who earned it. I did nothing.
Fun to still be involved in the game.
Biggest lead for Carolina, it stands at 6. They have scored 4 unanswered about halfway through this second half.
It doesn't feel like a 6-goal differential game, though.
I think it's because when we have seen the runs, there have been goals from each side that have come in bunches. It took Carolina 10 minutes to score their first goal here in this second half, and in less than 5, they've put up 4.
And that's what Stony Brook's got to do, is just slow Carolina's offense down. And they can do it. They've shown that. But hey, you got 60 minutes to hold them. That's
doing things like that in spurts a little more reasonable than trying to do it consistently, and that's what I really think when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, what take the good teams to the elite teams. Put together a full 60-minute game. Goal scorers in the game for Stony Brook, Kennedy and Rafferty, each with a hat trick. Huff has added 1 as well.
Stony Brook has the ability for other players to get on the board as well, so that's what I'll be curious to see.
Talked about Taryn O'Miller a little bit. Has not gotten on the board as far as goals scored, but she has found a way to get involved, especially here in this second half. 4 assists for her. There is save number 8 for Taylor Moreno.
Taylor is just doing her thing.
The senior out of Huntington, New York, 3 straight seasons as a preseason All-America. Showing you why she has garnered so much respect.
And as a goalie, what I love watching about Taylor Moreno is, we know she's really athletic, but she makes it look easy. I know that these shots,
it's not.
Some of them are hard to see, and she makes it look easy.
Looking for an opening. Able to find Kennedy, but the Tar Heel defense turns both of them away.
That's what we saw Carolina defense doing successfully in the first half, is when the ball gets in the middle with Stony Brook, they swarm.
Coach Levy told us in our conversation that there have been times in practice where the defensive unit has really frustrated the offensive unit. And talking about the Carolina offensive unit and the firepower they have, that's an impressive thing. Shot clock down to 30 for the Seawolves. Rafferty tries to flash. Kennedy with 15 on the clock. Defended by Trenchard. Some help comes over as Wakefield knocks it away and Carolina causes a turnover.
kind of read that maybe Kennedy was going to go for that dodge with 10 seconds left on the clock.
Pass a little bit over the head of Wakefield. Seawolves pick it up and come right back into the offensive side of things. Turnovers by Stony Brook, 12 by the Tar Heels.
Stony Brook's offense has set up to have some feeders, whether it's from up top or the backside, and kind of looking for those picks and someone coming off it for that, which I think Caroline defense has been able to read, hey, this is when Stony Brook's looking to feed versus maybe dodge.
Again, the Carolina defense making Stony Brook work. Shot clock down to 30. It really looks like Stony Brook stacking a lot at the top and trying to, as you said, feed in from behind.
Exactly.
Moreno is a wall in the cage today, though. 9 saves for the senior.
Like I said, she makes that look easy. She had to turn all the way around, and she was ready for that shot.
You can put yourself in a good position, but the instincts and the reaction.
I gotta say, that doorstep save does feel good, though.
Oh, I
Gives
bet.
you no time to think. You're just like, I did that? Sweet.
Carolina is going to be methodical in their offensive approach as we approach 10 minutes to go in the game. 6-point lead for the #1 team in the country. Snuck out of the stick of Miller, able to regain it though, under 30. There's Hogue. Ortega seems to be moving around pretty well out there after suffering the ankle injury earlier this half. You can see she is still uncomfortable out there, but once the whistle blows, able to engage. 3 goals and a couple of assists for Jamie Ortega. Straight away, the shot, and this time it will go in for Hogue. 3rd try is the charm, off of the free position.
Hogue also changed up her placement this time. She went low. We've seen her other 8-meter shots go kind of mid to high, and that one skimmed by.
We've seen it a lot. It's the defense converting into offense for both sides. Once again, it happens here for the Tar Heels. 9th save for Moreno, 1st goal for Hogue. Carolina up by 7. Have yourself a day, Taylor Moreno. 9 saves on 22 shots for Carolina so far.
I'm not surprised seeing this out of Moreno, but especially this year, Coach Jenny Levy talked about how Moreno has just become a lot more mature and confident in the position, and you can see that with the way the game started. She let 2 goals in, and for her to not even be fazed by that and just play her game, it's been so good for her today.
Of those 22 shots, 16 have been on frame, so she has saved more than she has given up, and as a goalkeeper, I'm guessing that that's exactly the way you want it to be every time?
Yes,
yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Coach Levy told us that she is just on a different level this year. Because that confidence has gone up, she has taken things to a different level this season.
And if you were to watch her last year or the year before, you'd say, she's on a different level.
Yeah.
So, this is another different level.
Yeah, it's the head scratcher when you're talking to coaches and they say things like that, but then you look at what you know about the player and, well, she was a 2-time All-America already. How can you keep going to a new level? But showing us how right here today.
Seeing the ground get a little slippery. Hogue fell on that.
It didn't look like Hart put on Huff put on too much of a move there, but coming out from underneath of Hogue.
Yeah, Huff was looking like she wanted to get rid of that ball.
Under 10 to go and a 7-goal deficit here for the Seawolves. You got to expect the offense to have a little bit of urgency here.
Yeah, that's why you're seeing Kennedy dodge right now.
10 saves for Moreno. And Carolina able to pick up the ground ball.
An impressive save by Moreno.
Emily Knowles comes away with that ground ball and a great outlet pass. Carolina with 2 passes into the attacking third. Can't hold on to it though. That was the freshman Wurzburger. Ortega trying to make it tough for Gannon. Like a defender may have gotten a piece of that one.
A little late of a decision on that to give that ball up. Her attacker was kind of past that.
Look at that outlet pass from Moreno all the way to midfield. Hits Wurzburger right in the net, and she'll slow things up. How often did you want to just wind up and let one fly like that when you were in goal?
Oh, I wanted to a lot. It's fun to get that quarterback mindset, but you got to be real good at it to take that risk.
Nice feed and a behind-the-back shot from Wareheim. Up to the task, though. Halsall with her 5th save.
As a goalie, you gotta love to see that. The 2 behind the backs getting stuffed this game. You don't usually see that.
Yeah, and for Wareheim, that's her first shot she's taken that didn't turn into a goal.
Yeah.
She leads everybody with 4 so far. Another turnover in the midfield. That's the 16th against Stony Brook. Take another look at the save again.
Quick hands by Halsall to be able to get across that. She fell for the fake.
Yellow card, Stony Brook.
Yellow card will go against Stony Brook. Tough spot to take a penalty here. Down by 7, just under 7 to go. You're not going to be at equal strength until about 5 minutes. You can see Coach Spallina with some frustration there.
Yeah, because as mentioned, if Stony Brook scores, Carolina's still a man up. It's not releasable unless Carolina scores.
And I can't imagine that unless there is a wide open opportunity, Carolina is going to be inclined to rush and try and find a shot here on this opportunity.
Yeah, not until they're probably at the end of that shot clock.
Another slip and fall down behind the cage. Mastrioni lost her footing. Hogue trying to connect with Mastrioni. Picked up by Miller. Halfway through the yellow card and the man-up opportunity for the Tar Heels.
And with Carolina being man-up, it takes away from Stony Brook's backer defense. It's not something.
Hogue tried to hit Wurzburger there. Ball fell. Wurzburger found a way to come away with it. Ortega right off the face mask of Halsall. And that'll reset the shot clock as Carolina keeps possession. Six saves in the game now for Halsall. Sometimes just being in the right position is all you need to do as a keeper.
Yeah. Best feeling is when it hits you and it goes out instead of goes in.
As long as it hits you somewhere where there's padding, I imagine.
Yeah.
Looked like Miller was winding up to let one rip as the whistle comes in.
That's a shooting space, and for some situations on offense, it's kind of easy to read when a shooting space situation is going to come up.
This would be the 6th free position for Carolina, 2 for 5 in the game. Converted on each of their last 2. Cannot on this one, as Halsall has come up with 3 big saves here in the last couple of minutes. And that'll give Stony Brook an opportunity to get back to even strength.
Those were huge. To be man down and get those saves, you're seeing shots that typically don't have a lot of defensive pressure on them. And now Stony Brook is even.
Sarah released back out onto the field. Tar Heels really hounding Achatella. Whistle going to come in from behind the play here.
Stony Brook should look to move the ball around a little bit more instead of kind of using their feet. Like I mentioned, it's a little bit more easy to read when they're looking to feed. So they could move that ball around more, get that Carolina defense to shift, hedge a little bit, may create some space and opportunity.
Just under 4 remaining in the game. Stony Brook came out in the first half as well as the second half and were the aggressors. Had a 2-0 lead as well as a 3-2 lead, but once North Carolina took that lead, they have not relinquished it. It was 5 at the half, has grown to 7 now.
Ooh, that was a great look. She had that girl there. Fortunate, tough catch to make.
Looked like Miss Sarah almost had the stick turned around and it hit the back side of the net.
On my whistle, what? On my whistle.
Down under 3 minutes to go here. Carolina, by all intents purposes, going to take away the victory here. But if you're looking at it from a Stony Brook standpoint, Kaylee, what are the positives that they're going to see from this game that they can take and grow on throughout this year?
I think they see a lot of potential. It's just being able to execute on that 60 minutes.
Kennedy with the shot that goes wide. 9th shot of the game for her. Both coaches told us their biggest takeaway from this one was they were just going to be able to see them against another team, see how they compete. Shot off the mark as well.
We've seen O'Miller go for that crease roll opportunity, and it's a tough shot to make. It's low angle, which is why we're seeing it go wide. But at least it gives her team another possession of the ball.
Tough shot, but I also think maybe in dry conditions, the shot that she's able to get a little bit better of a look at, where you can plant that foot in the ground and really rely on it and not have it come out from under you, which we've seen a lot here in this second half as the rain continues to fall. Another cause turnover by the Tar Heels. 18 giveaways by Stony Brook in this game. Another long pass from Moreno, almost 3/4 of the field this time. A couple of players down on the ground. The whistle go against Newman.
I think it seems though players are open coming out of the box. Just looking for that.
1 minute remaining.
Six scorers for Carolina in their season opener today, 5 of them with multiple goals, led by Taylor Wareheim with 4. 3 scorers on the other side for the Seawolves. Rafferty and Kennedy both with hat tricks. Jenny Levy gonna pick up her 354th win of her career. 26th season here at Carolina.
She's all that Carolina women's lacrosse knows. She's been there the whole program history.
It is really crazy to think about how long some of the coaches at Carolina have been here. The same can be said for Anson Dorrance in the women's program. Off the pre-position shot up and wide. Looked like the defenders got the sticks in the way. I think one thing both teams going to want to work on are their free positions. 1 for 8 for Stony Brook, 2 for 6 for Carolina.
Yeah, those are a lot of opportunities too. Sometimes you may only get 3 free position shots.
Kennedy with one last shot that'll go wide. And that'll take us to the final horn. 14-7 Carolina winners of the 2021 season opener. Kaylee, some final thoughts from today's game.
It was fun game to be back watching women's lacrosse. Also, credit to Carolina defense. You know, a lot of people know how good their offense is and all of those people there, but we saw Carolina defense. Every player stepped up. Every player was part of a turnover, possession. Moreno, Trenchard, Wakefield, and that made it hard for Stony Brook. But they put up a good fight, and I think that's great competition for both teams to start the season like this.
Wareheim led the Tar Heel offense with 4 goals. The big names, Ortega and Hogue, with 5 goals and 7 assists combined. And how about the play of Taylor Moreno in goal? 10 saves while giving up just 7 goals. For my broadcast partner, Kaylee Waters, I'm Kyle Straub saying so long from Chapel Hill, the final North Carolina 14, Stony Brook 7.